Okay, everyone, I'd like to talk to you now about your writing challenge for today. And this is your first challenge that you're going to do for me. Now, just to remind you, yesterday we were looking at the story Bathroom Boogie. And I asked you to have a little look in your own bathrooms and see if you could find some characters that you thought would be very good in our story. And I showed you some examples. So can you remember I had my rubber duck? So there it is. And I had my toothbrushes. And these were the characters that I thought would be good. And you came up with such brilliant ideas. So well done, everyone. I was so impressed with your really imaginative ideas. So that's absolutely great job there. Okay. What we're going to do today, though, I'm thinking about our challenge for today. Now that we've got our characters, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'd like you to write me a sentence about those characters to tell me what they would be doing in the story. So I'm going to write about my toothbrushes today, just to show you how you could write a sentence. But you're just going to choose one of your characters, okay? So I'm choosing my toothbrushes as my characters I'm going to write about. Okay, so I'm going to get my whiteboard now and I'm going to show you how we can write our sentence. So yesterday, we talked about a sentence that we could say for these particular toothbrushes. That was my example. And I said, the toothbrushes like to jig and jive. So that's the sentence that I'm going to write now about my toothbrushes. So here's my board. Now at the moment it's blank. So I'm thinking to myself, where am I going to start my writing? Because I know sometimes it's a bit tricky when we look in our books to know exactly where to start our writing from. So I've got a little trick you could use to help you. And I'm going to use some coloured pens to help me. And I'm going to use the green one first. And the green one is like go on a traffic light. And that tells us where we start writing. So if we're looking at our page or we're looking at a whiteboard, we always start over this side of the page. And this is the left side of our page. So I'm just going to put in my green pen a little dot just to remind me that this is where I'm going to start my writing. And remember, it's green for go. So that's where I start. I start my writing here. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can get my normal writing pen or pencil and I'm going to start my sentence. So let me think about my sentence again. I'm saying the toothbrushes like to jig and jive. So I'm going to start writing my sentence. I'm going to show you it in a second. So I'm going to write the toothbrushes. Now remember, if we're not sure about a word, then we can sound it out, okay, using our phonics to help us. So the toothbrushes like to, now I'm going to carry on writing in a sentence in a minute. I'm just going to show you what I've written so far. So you can see here was my green dot. That's where I was starting my writing. And hopefully you can notice I have put something in between my words. Can you remember what that was called when we put a gap in between each of our words? It was called our finger space. Well done if you remembered that. And try and use your finger space in between your words again today. So here is my sentence. I've started at my go, okay? And I talked about my red pen. And the red pen, okay, is to show us where we're going to stop our writing. And that's where we would put our full stop, okay? So you can put that at the beginning. I'm just going to put it at the end of my board now, so I know where I'm going to finish my writing. So hopefully now you can see my green dot. That's where I've started writing. And my red dot, that's where I'm aiming for. That's where I'm going to keep my writing going till I get to the end. And that's where I'm going to stop. And I'm going to put my full stop there, which tells me it's the end of my sentence. So let's come back to our writing. We're saying the toothbrushes like to, and I'm going to write jig now. So I'm going to put my finger space in. So I use my finger to help me. And now I want to write the word jig. So I'm going to sound that one out to help me. So I'm going to listen to the first sound. Jig, jig. I can hear that j, j, j sound. So I'm going to write my j sound at the beginning there. J. And there it is. And I've got my finger space in there. So I'm going to write jig, j, I, j, I, g. Jig. What sound can I hear at the end there? Jig. G, 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 g. It's my g, g, g sound, isn't it? So I'm going to just move slightly so I can show you. Jig. There we go. So I've written the toothbrushes like to jig. Now, I could finish my sentence there, couldn't I? But I think I'm just going to put a little bit more in. I'm going to say jig and jive. I think they like to jig and jive. So I could say the toothbrushes like to jig and I've used my finger space. Jive. And there it is. And now that I've finished my sentence, okay, my red stop sign was over here, but obviously I finished my sentence a bit earlier, so I'm going to put my full stop next to my jive, my last word in my sentence. So there it is. There's my sentence about my toothbrushes. The toothbrushes like to jig and jive. And once you've done your brilliant sentence there, I think you could have a go at maybe drawing a picture of your character as well. So I could also include a picture of my toothbrushes having a little dance there. And there they are. They're dancing away together. I'm sure you could do a much better picture than that. Okay, I can't wait to see what sentences you're going to come up with, our class. Okay, I will see you later.